Welcome to TCG.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Tapcast Go. Today I will be talking about my favorite commander, and that is Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. So Yuriko reads, whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. So the reason why I love her so much is because of the commander ninjutsu. No matter how many times she dies, she will always be a blue and a black. And it also gets around cards that say draw an extra card per turn. Since it's put it into your hand, it gets away from that. All right, so let's start talking about the 99. I tried to tune this deck to be as fast as possible. And I need cards like that with Ornithopter for 0 mana, Memnite for 0 mana, and some of the 1-drops. Faerie Miscreant, Slitherblade, can't be blocked. Mist-Cloaked Herald, can't be blocked. Faerie Seer, lets me scry 2. Trident Shore Stalker, can't be blocked. Siren Storm Tamer, pay a blue, sack it, counter target spell or ability that targets a creature I control, helps keep some of my stuff safe. Mothdust Changeling, it's a changeling, and I could tap an untapped creature to give it flying to help evase some creatures. Gudul Lurker, can't be blocked. Spectral Sailor, so it has flash, so I could put it on an opponent's turn, and I could pay 4 mana to help me draw cards. The Wanderer, and it reads, sacrifice it, counter target insert or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is its power. You know, kind of help keep some of my stuff alive. Cloud Sprite. Sacrifice it until your next turn. Target player who was dealt combat damage by Hope of Ghirapur this turn can't cast non-creature spells. Universal Automaton, Changeling, so it counts as a ninja. Tormented Soul, can't be blocked. Changeling Outcast, Changeling, can't be blocked. And Vampire Cutthroat. So the 1-drops help me ensure that Yuriko will be coming out turn 2 so that I could start dealing damage to all my opponents and putting cards into my hand. Now I'm going to be talking about some of the 2-drops that I'll be putting into the deck. First we got Mistblade Shinobi, because I want to be able to ninjutsu in all my 1-drops for only 1 mana. Skull Snatcher, same thing. Spellstutter Spirit. She's one of the reasons why I have so many fairies in the deck, to just kind of help me counter my opponent's stuff. Snapcaster, help me bring back whatever I may need at the time, some of my tutors. Dimir Infiltrator, unblockable, and Transmute is definitely a big help. Invisible Stalker, hexproof, unblockable. Disciple of Deceit. So she's a big part of the deck. Whenever Disciple of Deceit becomes untapped, you may discard a non-land card. If you do, search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as that card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So I have a lot of 1-drops and 2-drops that I could easily sack out of my hand from drawing with Yuriko's ability and helping me get whatever I may need at the time. Some of my tutors, whatever I may need. And this is Tribute Mage. When she enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 2, reveal that card and put it into your hand, shuffle your library. And that brings me to my artifacts. So I always would get Scroll Rack. If I ever get bombs into my hand, Scroll Rack lets me adjust it to put it on top of my library so that my opponents are dealt that much damage. Then I have a lot of my fast mana rocks. Mox Amber, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox for 0 mana, allowing me to be very aggressive. Then to adjust my top of my library, Sensei's Divining Top. Then we got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Dimir Signet, Fellwar Stone, and Talisman of Dominance. So now going to my sorceries. I got Windfall. If I could play it turn 1, turn 2, it allows me to dump my hand and refill it while screwing up my opponent's game plan. Then I have Diabolic Vision. Look at the top 5 cards of your library and put one of them into your hand and put the remaining 4 on top of your library in any order, which allows me to adjust and put my bombs on top. Dream Catch. Draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand, both on top of your library or both on the bottom of your library. Now this lets me put the bombs from my hand on top of my library. Yawgmoth's Will. Until end of turn, you may play cards in your graveyard as though they were in your hand. Cards put in your graveyard this turn are removed from the game. Now this lets me put my creatures back in play, you know, my enchantments, my artifacts, anything that gets destroyed, I'm able to play it again. Temporal Mastery. So most of the time I'm going to be casting it for its miracle cost because I'm adjusting my top of my deck so many times. But if I could hit my opponent for 7, each opponent, it does a really good job too. Doomsday. Search your library and graveyard for 5 cards and exile the rest. Put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose half your life, rounded up. So this is when I try to go for the kill. That's when I put all my bombs on top, but I'm making sure that I'm swinging in with multiple ninjas so that I could guarantee the kill. And Stolen by the Fae. Return target creature with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand. You may create X 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying. Now that helps me create a lot of creatures that I could cheat in with Yuriko. Now my enchantments. Bitter Blossom, helping me make more fairies. These all 3 let me turn all my creatures into ninjas. For enchantments, we have Bitter Blossom to help me make more fairies. And we have these to turn all my creatures into ninjas, which allow me to do a lot of damage. Then we got Rhystic Study. If you get it out early, you draw a bunch of cards. Amazing card. Now we're going to talk about tutors. We got Demonic Tutor and Merchant Scroll. These let me put a card into my hand. And a card that I always get is Limdol's Vault. Limdol's Vault reads, look at the top 5 cards of your library as many times as you choose. You may pay 1 life to put those cards on the bottom of your library and look at the top 5 cards of your library. Shuffle all but the top 5 cards of your library. Put those 5 on top of your library in any order. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this lost life. So this lets me go through the whole deck to adjust the best 5 cards that I possibly can to ensure that I'm hitting my big bombs. Now to adjust the top, Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Scheming Symmetry, Mystical Tutor, and Personal Tutor. And the cards that I get with those, Draco, 16 mana creature, Emrakul, 13, Temporal Trespass, 11, Blinkmoth Infusion, 14, Time Stretch, 10, Dead Drop, 10, Expropriate for 9. And these are ways to ensure that my plan goes well and to stop my opponents. We got Daze, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Pact of Negation are my free spells. Then we got Swang Song, Dispel, Mana Drain. Some of the instants that help me abuse the top of my deck. Spy Network, look at the target player's hand, the top card of that player's library, and any face-down creatures he or she controls. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. So for 1 mana, adjusting my top 4, really useful. And of course, Brainstorm helps me put some of the bombs that are in my hand back on top of my library. So let's talk about the lands now. So for the lands, we have 7 basic islands and 7 basic swamps. These are our fetch lands to help ensure that we get the colors that we need on time. These are going to help ensure that we have our black and blue mana. So we got Mutavault. For 1, Mutavault becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's still a land. So making it into a ninja comes in handy sometimes. Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So the cool thing about this is that I could fetch it because it's an island and help put one of my bombs back on top of my library to ensure that my opponents are dealt a lot of damage. So with Volrest Stronghold, it allows me to put target creature card from my graveyard on top of my library. And since Yuriko lets me draw cards so fast, I'll usually dump these into my graveyard and bring them back with Stronghold to make my opponents get dealt that much damage again. So this gives target legendary creature fear until end of turn. So I use it on Yuriko to make sure that she doesn't get blocked. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm always open to suggestions and tips, so please leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe, ring the bell, and thanks for taking the time to watch us.